yogi to your practice today. This practice is all about actually embracing and practicing compassion within our body. So in Yin, we know that it's not about forcing, it's not about pushing, it's about going to an edge, but an appropriate edge where you know that, okay, I can feel sensation, but I can manage with it. So today we are going to be focusing on the container of the hips. So especially the top of the thighs, outer hips, inner thighs. And this is where compassion becomes really important because this is an area that can be very tight, that can bring on a lot of strong physical sensations as well as emotional ones, especially things like frustration, irritation, even anger. Your breath will become really the catalyst for each pose, and I invite you to listen to what your body is saying and communicating to you always. If something doesn't feel right, leave it out. In terms of props, you will definitely need a couple of blocks. I am bringing along a small towel just because we are going to be on the knees at one point. So if direct contact for you, and especially if you're on a harder surface like I am, you might want something for cushioning. That could also be a pillow, a blanket rolled up, a towel, anything you like. Okay. So without further ado, we are going to start with our first pose, and we're going to begin in tadpole. And I'm also going to have an option for you to lay on the back if you prefer not to be on your knees. So if you're preferring to lay on your back, you're going to do butterfly. You'll bring the soles of your feet together, maybe grab some blocks underneath your knees, and then lay onto the back. If you're choosing tadpole, then you're on your knees, you're going to bring your big toes to touch. You're going to open the knees wide. And this is where I personally like to build a little shelf underneath me. So one underneath my belly and then one underneath my head. And you can adjust the heights at whatever you need here. If you're on your back, take your arms away from your body, turn your palms up to soften your shoulders, and then close your eyes down wherever you've landed. And start to connect to a long breath in for 4 and a deep breath out for 6. Take 2 more deep breaths in through the nose. Filling all the way up for 4 counts. And then exhaling out through the nose for 6. Not rushing the breath, taking your time. And then when you're ready, if you're on your back, you can gently draw your knees together and make your way up to a seat. If you are in tadpole, come up onto your hands, lift your chest, take any of the props out to the side, gently draw the knees together. And again, just come to a comfortable seat for a moment and let your body rebound here. Continuing to breathe deeply. Just tuning in, noticing how you feel. And then take one more round of breath in and out through the nose. Gently open the eyes. Before we move into our next pose, just bring your hands back behind you. Bring your feet in front and you're going to windshield wiper the legs from side to side. Just creating a little bit of fluid movement in through the hip joints before we settle in. And then as you come back through center, we're going to move into shoelace pose. And we're going to take a really gentle shoelace. So I recommend sitting on the edge of a block, especially if you tend to fall backwards in your seat. I'm just going to sit on the edge of a bolster. If you have a small blanket, you can also roll that up and sit on the edge of that. Okay. So for this variation, we're going to take kind of a wide cross-legged position. So the left leg will be in front and the right leg will be in front of that one, okay? And you're going to take your knees wide, a little bit wider than your hips. So think of making like a V shape, okay? Feet are going to be flexed. Actually, I don't need the bolster today. For some reason, that's just not working for my body. So the right foot's a little more forward, flexing toes back towards the shin. Left leg's a little bit inside, and again, the foot is flexing back. And then if you have a block, if you have 2 blocks, great. If you only have 1 block, place that in front of you. And you can take it at whatever height you need. Maybe start at the highest level. Think of really grounding through your sit bones. And then tilting the chest forward with a long spine, and maybe the hands are what lands on the block. Maybe for some of you, it's the forearms. You can bring the block in as close as you need to. If you have 2 blocks, you can stack. So you could make a higher shelf for yourself if you need to. Okay? You always want to maintain a ground through your seat. If you want to bow the head down, you can, as long as that feels comfortable on the neck. And if you do need support for the neck, and your blocks are giving you enough support that you can bring your elbows down, I like to just bring my elbows onto the blocks and kind of just cup my head or my face with the block, with my hands. And there, I'm supported. Remember, it's not about what it looks like, it's about how it feels. Let your jaw wiggle around a little bit. Let the tongue and the mouth relax. Let the blood flow through the hips. And let the breath flow through the body. And take one more round of breath in and out through the nose. Then if you can keep the eyes closed and that feels comfortable and safe for you, you're going to rise back up if you did fold a little bit. Take the block out of the way. And right away we're going to go to the other side. So you're just going to switch out. Right leg comes in a little closer towards you. Left leg in front. And you're in, again, that really loose, and I do mean really loose shoelace. It's almost like square pose, but like really looser. Flex your feet back to protect and stabilize your knees and your hips. Maybe grab your block or blocks again in front of you. Ground through your sit bones, long through your spine. And then if you want to fold, you fold. You fold because your body wants the fold, not because you feel like it's what it needs. It's about how it would feel. And settle back into your breath. Maybe start to take the breath in a little deeper. Again, no force, no push. This is all about compassion. Last 3 rounds of breath. And from wherever you are, begin to find a long spine. And take your props out of the way. And this time to rebound, bring your hands back behind you and maybe take your legs out in front. Release the knees. If the hips or knees feel a little tender, you can always give them a little gentle massage, especially the outer hips. And take a couple of deep breaths here as you notice how things might be shifting. Now open the eyes back up. We're going to set up for dragon. And when I speak about compassion, this is a pose where we really want to practice compassion. I'm going to show a modified version of this that, in my personal opinion, is a game changer for a lot of people being able to do this pose more effectively and get the release that they need without a lot of strain on the upper body. So if you know you have sensitivity with the knees and you want to pad or cushion it a little bit, place that over towards more the left side of your mat. And then you're going to grab your 2 blocks. Now I'm working with cork blocks, which are a little bit heavier. They're a little denser, so they're a little more supportive. If you're working with foam blocks, just keep in mind they are a little less sturdy and dense, but they still work. So we're going to be placing the left knee down and the right leg is what steps forward. Now, traditionally, the blocks are on either side of the front foot and you bring the hips forward and down. I prefer to use a block underneath my right sit bone. Now, you can stack. So this is where if you're using like 2 blocks, you can kind of play with the height. If you need a lot of support, you can stack them both at whatever levels you need. If you only need 1 block, if you're a little more open, then you can slide that front leg a little more forward, and then you still have another block which you could place to the left side of you, and that gives you a little bit more stability. Keep in mind, the more upright your chest is, the deeper stretch through the front of the hip. You can mimic a little less by leaning your chest forward if that is accessible for your body. Now, if you're working with 2 blocks underneath you, keep your eyes open so that you can have balance, but find a focal point to look at. So this will give you a little bit more stability here. And then this is where the breath is really important. Breathing in, maybe a count of 6, or at least 4. And then breathing out for at least 6, maybe 8. Try not to clench the jawline. Feel the face soften a little more. Let the shoulders drop away from the ears. Take a deep breath in and a long breath out. And then coming out is a little bit tricky. I encourage you to draw your core in to help stabilize. Use one hand to start to bring it underneath onto the block. Once you have your hand on a block, you can start to lift your hip up enough that if you were using 2 blocks, you could take them away. And then you can very carefully just take that front leg back. And then to rebound, I personally like to just come on my seat and take my legs out in front. This way I release my knees. I also release my hips. And now give the legs just a little bit of a shake. You might want to just massage that right and left knee for a moment, especially the left, since it was the one that was down. And then we'll come back again into a table position, and we're going to set this up on the other side. Okay. So I'm going to take my little pillow there for my right knee this time. Take my blocks in front. My right knee is down. I'm taking my left leg forward. And again, if you want to stack 1 or 2 blocks, whatever height, you want it ideally to land on at least part of the sit bone and the thigh. Okay. If you're using the blocks in front of you, lean forward a little bit so that it's not quite so intense on the front of the right thigh. And find a focal point. This is often one of those poses where I don't recommend the eyes closed unless it really feels very stable for you. Now let the breath flow from the belly all the way up into the chest. Now, at any point, if you feel like that breath needs to be expressed a little more, feel free to exhale through an open mouth, kind of like a dragon does, right? Draw the breath in and then let the breath come out. Taking in 3 more rounds of breath. And then you're gently beginning to lift the hips up, sliding blocks away. You want to be nice and slow with this movement. Taking that front leg back. Taking your props out. And then we're going to finish class in a meditation. So I'm going to invite you to come to sit, whether that's on a bolster, block, wherever, just a really comfortable seated position. I sometimes like to sit on 2 blocks side by side. Gives my pelvis and my hips a little bit more support, so you're welcome to choose that. And the hands will rest on the lap, palms will face up. And as you're sitting tall, draw your shoulders down and back. Close your eyes. And for now, continue to breathe in for 4 through the nose. And breathe out for 6 through the nose. Watching yourself breathe. Release any control of your breath, letting it come back to an unmeasured state, while taking a moment to notice how you feel. How you feel physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically. See if you can capture a little bit of this compassion from this practice today. Maybe start to bring it into other areas of your life, of your day. Remembering that this is a practice. It's not about being perfect. I invite you to come back to this practice or any of my other practices anytime you feel you want to reconnect. Have a beautiful day, and thank you so much for spending time on the mat with me. Namaste, yogi.